Hi learners, welcome to IoT design and applications. So now in this section we are going to see another hardware. Now this is a bus protocol we call. So we call I square C. So usually the name I2C is I square C. Usually when we write I square C. Integrated circuits. So that means that the integration of various integrated circuits. That's what we call I square C. Usually most of the microcontrollers between each and every components in a microcontroller, they are being just connected with the I square C bus. So there are various buses available. For example, SPI, serial parallel interface, then IBM standard architecture, industry standard ISA, then EISA, then we have I square C, then we have USB, then IEEE Firewire. So like that we have so many things available, even CAN protocol, controller area network. So likewise we have so many uh, bus protocols are available for any hardware devices or any hardware microcontrollers we usually call. So here how this I square C is very helpful for Internet of Things. Now it is a well-known bus used to link microcontrollers. So that means between controller to controller it can link. So IoT devices, what happens is, so I have two IoT devices set up across here. So let's say I want to transmit some data from here to here. I want to transmit. I mean through hardware I want to transmit. So further this is already having I square C bus and this also have I square C bus. How do they exchange packet without any network facility? I mean only on the hardware level how do they integrate. So in that case we use some kind of buses like this. It is low cost, easy to implement, moderate speed and extended speed. So we have two different speeds, 100 kilobits per second and 400 kilobits per second, and two usual lines called as serial clock line and serial data line. So for one for clock indication, another for data. So here the serial data line and serial clock line. So mostly see that all the devices in the system have been connected to both the cables. I mean both the lines, serial data line as well as the clock line. Every device is connected. So what happens here is, let's say if this is a master, it wanted to write a data. So it will place a one here. Let's say for example, and suddenly after it places one, it listens to a zero. That means that somebody else is writing the data. So one means write and zero means write, one means read. So that's why we called as read bar write. You might have understand. So one bar zero. So that means whenever it listens to zero, it understands that already somebody is writing, so it will be waiting it. So that is what the concept behind this I square C. So it can have multiple masters, it can have multiple slaves. So now here how the packet, how the bit pattern happens is, so it is see that 2 3 4 5 6 7 it totally 8 bit byte. So usually we call it as 8 bit byte. So usually we name it as 8 bit byte. So whenever a clock is initiated, so as per this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 it is created. After that we have one more stop bit. So after this only it will be having a stop bit. So that means it indicates that after one 8-bit byte is been transmitted, it will wait for the next data. So that is how the way the clock line and the data line will be helpful in this. And even we have an acknowledgement also. And this is the start and this is the stop. So sender pulls down a bus for 0. Sender listens to the bus. If it tried to send a 1 and heard a 0, someone else is simultaneously transmitting. So it is simple logic. So when someone wanted to send a 1, if it listens to a 0, that means it understands that somebody else is writing on the channel. So it will be waiting. Transmission occurs in 8-bit byte. So that usually the transmission occur in 8-bit byte. So that means that 8 bits, 1 2 4 5 6 7 8. So totally 8-bit byte. This is how the way the transmission occurs. So it is based on open collector, open drain. But anyway, some of you may not be from electronics background, so I just leave out this topic. So every device has an address. So we have in standard bus we have 7 bits, and in the extended bus we can have 10 bits. So 7 bits means how many devices I can address. 2 power 7 equal to 128 devices. Whereas in the extended bit 2 power 10 is nothing but 1024 addresses. So that means I can handle 128 devices. If you want to handle more than 1000 devices, I can go for an extended bit. So usually when all the zeros for 7 bits are zeros, then we call a general call or a broadcast. When in this format 410XX, it is reserved for 10-bit addressing scheme. So that means that if I want to use more than 128 devices, then obviously I need to go for a 10-bit extension. Further, I will send a control word like this. So sender listens while sending address. When sender hears a conflict, if the address is higher, it stops signaling. So this is a bus arbitration. That means that who wanted to own the bus. So that's what this bus arbitration. Low priority senders relinquish control early enough in clock cycle to allow bit to bit transmitted reliably. So that's what this I2C bus arbitration says, that if a master wanted to acquire the bus, so what it will do. If already high priority high priority master is already taking over the bus, what the other master devices can do. So that's we call bus arbitration. So in the bus transaction, you can see that we have a start bit yes, and we have a stop bit P and P here. Now in the first thing, what happens is it is having a write signal. So that means write means 0. After that, 2 8-bit byte data has been transmitted. So first byte and second. In the second thing, read from a slave. There's a 1 means somebody is trying to read the data. So that's why it is having a 1. So it is the value is being read here. So the gray color indicates it is for reading. The white color indicates it is for writing. Similarly, in the third value, what happens is 7-bit address has been sent. And the right after the data is written, there's a again another data in the same thing in the start bit, but this time after the 7-bit address has been requested from a slave, we got a read request. After that, the stop bit occurs. So that means that 2 writes, 1 read, and here 1 write and 1 read. So this how happens with the all the 3 that's what is mentioned here. In the first example, the master write 2 bytes. The second example, the master requires a read from slave. In third, write 1 byte and read from the slave. So now how we can calculate the delay. So how the delay is calculated mainly in I2C bus. So it is mainly on these 3 parameters TX, TR, TP. So this is the message total message delay is TM. So transmission overhead it's TR, TX, TR is receiver overhead, total time to transmit a packet. So that is the formula. Now let's solve a small problem here. I2C message delay. Assume that the I2C bus runs at a rate of 100 kilobits per second. What is the message delay to transmit one 8-bit byte? Just see that only one 8-bit byte data on a 8 MHz microcontroller. The overhead for transmitter receiver is 10 instructions. So the transmitter receiver overhead is 10 instructions. So now what we do is, so first thing is start bit will give 1 bit. Then we have an address. Address is usually 7-bit, but along with one more bit is 8th bit. 7 plus 1. Then data is 1 8-bit byte. So 8 plus stop bit is 1. So totally what we do is 1 plus 7, 8, 9, 17, 18. So totally 18 bits. So to time required to transmit a packet is, the n is equal to 18 here. So what is the time required to transmit a packet is 18 divided by 100 kilobits per second, because the rate the I2C bus run is 100 kilobits per second. So we'll get a value of 0.18 milliseconds, 0.19 milliseconds, which is equal to this. Okay, now the overhead calculation is there are 10 instructions for receiving and 10 instructions for transmitting. So in that case, what happens? TX and TR both are same, but we have to add it two times because of the formula. This formula TX TR. Okay, so what we do here is 10 into number of instructions overhead divided by into 1 by 8 MHz. 8 MHz by the microcontroller acting at the clock speed of 8 MHz. So 1 by 8 MHz nothing but the time. So frequency equal to 1 by time. As per this formula we calculate it and we'll get a value of 1.25 microseconds. So 1.25 microseconds. So this is for TX and TR. So what we do is when we add 1.25 into 10 microsecond plus finally 0.18 milliseconds. This is a value. So that means 1.25 and 1.8 into 10 power minus 4, you will get a value of message delay of 0.1825 milliseconds. So this is the answer for this I2C message delay. So this is how the way that we can able to calculate the message delay for I2C. So having understand that what kind of buses it's been used in IoT devices. So it is one of a very common bus available for most of the hardware. So even if you take any sensor node or IoT device, internally the iBoard device can be useful with used with this kind of bus. Okay, so already we have seen different technology, RFID, wireless sensor networks. Now we have seen I2C. Thank you.